agree.
All right, here we go. All right, so we'll call the Wednesday, August 26, 2020 of the meeting of the Brushy Creek Regional Utility Authority call it to order. And Monique, will you check the roll, please?
President Flores.
Here.
Vice President Shaw.
Here.
Secretary Duffy.
Here.
Director Baker. Director Anderson. Director Kirkland.
Here.
All right, we will move on to item 3, citizen communication. Any citizen wishing to speak during citizen communication regarding an item on or off the agenda may do so after completing the required registration card or registration through the online link. All comments must be no more than 3 minutes in length. Any comments regarding items not on the board on the posted agenda may not be discussed or responded to by the board. I have a list of names that was given to me previously, so I'll just take those in the order received and we'll go ahead and get started. The first name I have is for a Mr. Tony Ruff. Tony, are you out there? Mr. Ruff?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Tony Ruff, 16321 Jackson Street in Valente, Texas. Thank you guys for, allowing me to speak during this time. I've been in attendance at Valente City meetings on the BCRUA deep water intake since 2016 and understand that this has been in the works quite some time now. An agreeable resolution and course of action is my main goal for attending and speaking today. As a citizen of Valente and a resident on Jackson Street, I am mostly concerned with 2 items, the protection and monitoring of our private wells and the safe use of our roadways, both in the neighborhood and in the village during the construction of this major project. The BCRUA cities have an obligation to preserve and protect health, safety, and welfare of their more than 500,000 citizens by providing a dependable and adequate source of safe drinking water. The Village of Valente does not have a central water system and was not offered to be included in the regional project, even though at its total build out, we only have about 1,500 additional residences. Our water supply throughout the village is either by contracts directly out of Lake Travis or various private wells. While the BCRUA is stated they will monitor the wells within 400 feet of the pipeline, this does not ensure that the existing aquifers throughout the village will not be affected by this massive project. As property owners, we need the assurances that this is adequately addressed during and after the construction of the project and for years to come. So how can we know and ensure that we will have access to clean, dependable, safe water if our wells are affected by this project? Secondly, the second matter, our neighborhood has several children, pets, and residents that are active outdoor citizens. The number, frequency, and type of large trucks coming in and out of our neighborhood poses a serious safety hazard to the residents along Jackson, Sherman, Aaron, and Bernard Street. The countless large construction trucks have to be limited, not only to size, but the time allowed for construction to commence in order for us to maintain a safe and healthy home life. What assurances is the BCRUA willing to give us to lessen the impact of the major construction and the time needed to complete the maintenance building and the deep water intake? What alternatives have been considered by the BCRUA to minimize the impact of this project on the village residents most affected by this project? And thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. Ruff, for being with us tonight. The next name I have on the list is a Frank Wolf. Mr. Wolf? Can you hear us, Mr. Wolf? You're on mute, I think. Or maybe we have you on mute.
Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Wolf?
Mr. Wolf, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
There we go. So thank you for allowing me to speak. It's Frank Wolf, 16417 Sherman Street, Valente, Texas. I guess I live about a half a mile or so as the crow flies from the project. And so my concerns tonight are not that other people won't talk about the traffic and the inconvenience. But my concern tonight is more about our need for lifelong security. And, I've been doing some studies, reading a lot. And, one of the particularly blaring quotes from the EPA reports that govern community water systems is that small and medium communities have a high likelihood of unsophisticated threats due to fewer security resources. And as you may or may not know, we're close to a number of county lines. We don't have our own security resources ourselves. And that is very much of a concern to all of us, I think. I know that you're required to conduct risk assessments on your own and do emergency plans and emergency tests. But, what assurances do we have that, sometime in the middle of the night, we're not going to have, some kind of drills that obviously, if it's a drill, we're not going to know much about. And when we read about things like a threat vulnerability assessment or, a blast vulnerability assessment, providing estimates of damage from attacks on water utility, that sounds pretty serious. So, I guess the question that I would most like to ask tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is what about security for us, for not only the build of the project, but for the life of the project? And thank you. I yield the microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf, for being with us tonight. The next name I have on the list is Ms. Judy Gracie. Ms. Gracie?
Yes. Hi, my name is Judy Gracie, and I live at 15775 Booth Circle in Valenti. And I've worked on this project since 2007 and followed it all the way through. Was on the village council, and I was a council member with when the MOU was negotiated. And I'm very concerned now that well, there were two things that were the biggest issues for Valenti. The first one was the pump station. It was massive in the back of our neighborhood. So now that was removed with the MOU. The second issue was that the deep water intake would be constructed from the water. And there's concerns that this isn't going to be your plan. It looks like you submitted plans for the maintenance building that was allowed on the Jackson site. And now there's a 14-foot wide circular road down to the water. And, there used to be, like in your 2016 engineering report, there was $200,000 for a staging site. And it was the same one used by the city of Austin for the construction of the deep water intake that is the same design as yours for water treatment number 4, which is built 300 feet below the Oasis restaurant. So if you're at the Oasis, you can go out on their deck and you can see an intake screen that is going to be exactly like the one that will be built in Valenti. So, and we also, because of that intake, we've seen what the construction of this intake will be like, and it is going to be huge. And to think that this construction is going to be coming through Valenti roads, one of your board members at a legislative hearing called Lime Creek Road, our main road, the horrendous piece of asphalt that it is. We have hairpin turns. We are a rural community. There is no room for, we even have an ordinance against trucks over 3 axles. So, I mean, It is the visibility, dangerous curves, no shoulders, and really want for the BCRUA to consider that this intake construction come from the water, that as much as it possibly can. We're already going to be, if you look at that construction and think that it's right off the shore of existing homes, residential homes, instead of being 300 feet above the construction, it's going to be on the same level. The other thing the BCRU wants from the village are drop shafts. They want 2 drop shafts, which will save the BCRUA $2 million and 5 months of construction. But it will be, we haven't even seen the plans as far as our road. You're going to use one of our roads. I don't even know how big of an easement you need, but it's going to be 10 weeks, at least 10 weeks that we're going to be dealing with road closures for the drop shafts to line the pipeline with concrete, which would be a better concrete for you. $2 million savings. So I think, you've already saved $60 million in phase 1. So as far as, does the village, can you really see? I think you need to drive out to the village to see what this construction trucks are going to be going through. I mean, we can't get 2 cars. Plus last year, 2018, we had Hurricane Harvey. It flooded one of our bridges. So, and that bridge isn't even mentioned in your traffic study. So
Thank you, Ms. Gracie. I'll give you
appreciate it.
a chance to have a final
I think
comment.
y'all need to come out and see Valenti. We would appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. I didn't have any other names, but before I move on, is there any other people on the line that would like to speak at the moment during citizen communication? If so, just please state your name and address for the record. Anybody else wishing to speak? Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move on. Item 4, approval of the minutes. Consider approval of the BCRUA meeting minutes for June 24th, 2020. You should have those in your packet. Any questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we'll move on. We'll move down to the resolution section of the agenda. Item 5A, consider a resolution approving the BCRUA quarterly investment report for April 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2020. And I believe Mr. Robert Powers is going to take that from here. Mr. Powers.
Good evening, board. Good evening, board. Can you hear me okay?
Well, we'll try it.
Can you hear me okay, Monique?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I'll try to be brief this evening and draw your attention to the portfolio summary on page 5 of the investment report in your packet. This is the quarter ending June 30, and total value of cash and investments on hand for the BCRUA at the end of June was $40,711,000. Net income, investment earnings for the quarter, $41,446, and that represents a yield for the quarter of 0.385%. To give a little perspective, the quarter ending in March, the previous quarter, the yield was 1.32%, a little over 3 times what the last quarter has been, and that tells you what's been going on with the market and the economy with COVID-19 and everything else. But of the $40 million in cash and investments, about 50% or $20 million of that is in escrow funds for the 3 series of debt that the BCRUA has issued over the years, the 2009 original series, and then the 2017 issue for phase 1C, and then the
You there, Robert?
You muted yourself, Robert, I think somehow. Can you?
oh, is that better?
Keep going. It's not great.
No. Okay, I'm sorry. But at any rate, interest rates are falling, as we all know, so little opportunities for investment, as well as the phase 1C project, as you know, is winding down. And then we have, I think, about a year left on the project. But I'll stop there since the audio is not that great, and answer any questions.
Directors, any questions for Mr. Powers? All right, I think you're in the clear. No questions from here. Do we need a motion on that? Yes. So entertain a motion to approve the investment report.
Make a motion to approve the investment report.
First,
Second.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. We'll move on to Resolution 5B. Consider a resolution approving the BCRUA annual operating budget for fiscal year 2020-2021, subject to the approval of the participating cities. Ms. Bondi?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Turning to our FY21 proposed budget, the total budget, including operations, capital outlay, reserve adjustment, and debt service, contains a 4.3% increase from about 15.1 million to about 15.8 million. And if you look at your agenda packet summary, that has each category broken down and compared to the current fiscal year 2020 to this proposed FY21, what the changes are in the total. But I'll summarize these changes. The biggest change to this year's budget is the amount of water that each partner city plans to divert. In total, the plant production is projected to increase from 6.0 million gallons per day to 9.5 million gallons per day, which is an almost 60% increase. So focusing on the first operation portion of the budget, and including capital outlay, the budget proposes $3,035,590 between those two. So that's a $504,000 increase over this current fiscal year. So it's a 20% increase in operating budget for an increase of about 60% production. It's really the cost of electricity and chemicals associated with the increase in flow that is the bulk of the increase. So it's a $390,000 increase in power and chemicals, which is 86% of the entire total increase over last year's budget. One other significant item is a $50,000 increase proposed in capital outlay associated with a proposed upgrade to BCRUA's financial accounting software to manage better the complexities and to increase transparency of our multi-city accounting. The financial directors would like to improve our accounting software, which is currently QuickBooks, the QuickBooks due to several deficiencies. There's no fund accounting or pooled cash capability. There's no fixed asset or project accounting. There's no requisition or entry. And maybe more importantly, each of the cities want to be able to monitor these, significant funds that are in different accounts and are constantly being moved in and out based on expenditures and approvals from Water Development Board. And so they want to make sure that they can have external access to be able to monitor these funds. And our QuickBooks doesn't do that for us right now. So the operating committee has been assessing this and looking at alternatives and determining what is important, looking at different vendors. And so right now the $50,000 is an estimate of what this is going to cost. We are developing a scope right now. We'll put out a request for proposal, and at that point we'll have better nailed down the cost, but we're budgeting $50,000 for that right now. Other increased costs, there's a 2.6% increase in labor charges for merit. That's about $24,000. And then the reserve account needs to be adjusted proportional to the increased costs that I just mentioned. So that's $126,000 added to our reserve account. Turning to debt service, the debt service budget is about the same as it was last year. It's $12.6 million, which is an increase of about $57,000. Another change to the budget relates to the fee in lieu of provision of BCRUA's master agreement between all the three cities. So in the early years of BCRUA, each city already had its own water treatment plant. And so initially, they didn't really need a lot of additional water from the BCRUA plant. But the BCRUA plant, which was, about a 20+ million gallon per day plant, there was a minimum amount of flow that the plant needed to operate at. So this provision allowed for any city to take more water than what it really needed from the plant just to maintain that minimum flow. And that city in turn had got some, this fee, their additional costs over what they could have got from their own plant was basically reimbursed to them for them taking that initiative. So this year, this contractual fee in lieu of goes away because Round Rock and Leander are both increasing their demand so much. Cedar Park had previously been taking more of its water from this plant to ensure the minimum flow was maintained. And then they recouped the cost, as I'd mentioned. And in last year's budget, it was about $117,000. But due to the increased demand by the other two cities in the proposed FY21 budget, Cedar Park is able to reduce its demand to what it actually needs in supplemental flow from the BCRUA plant. So Cedar Park's going from 4 million gallons per day that they had their share of this current budget. They're dropping to 1.5 million gallons per day. So their flow is and portion of the budget is going down significantly in this this proposed budget. And as I mentioned, the fee in lieu of goes away, so which was always kind of hard to explain. So I hope you kind of understood what I was saying there. So that summarizes all the major changes in the budget. And we can see that due to increased use proposed for next year, the plant is becoming more efficient. For example, with this budget, the cost per gallon produced decreases from 43 cents a gallon to 33 cents a gallon. And it's like I said, it's a big plant. We were running a fairly small amount of water through it. And now that we are operating more at what it was designed for, we're starting to see those efficiencies. Now, Monique sent you a detailed budget spreadsheet, including year-to-date expenses for the third quarter. That's usually a helpful reference. However, due to our water plant expansion and construction this year, the plant was shut down for several months. So the year-to-date expenses don't really reflect the expenses that would have occurred had the plant been online for the entire fiscal year. So those were some points I wanted to mention, but let me give you a couple of highlights I would pull from this FY21 budget proposed. Most of the increased cost of the budget is due to increased production. From Cedar Park's perspective, due to Cedar Park's reduced demand, its portion of the budget drops by about half. So it's $386,000. Round Rock's, or actually it's dropped $386,000 from what it was last year. It's $755,000. Round Rock is essentially paying about the same as it did last year, but it's getting actual water this time. And Round Rock's proposing to take 0.5 million gallons per day, annual average. Leander is increasing its water demand from 2 million gallons per day in this budget year to 7.5 million gallons per day for next fiscal year, which is almost 300%. But its budget is only increasing 65%. In fact, the cost of water for Leander dropped by over half, from 73 cents per gallon to 32 cents per gallon due to the increased efficiency. Overall, the water plant will be operating more efficiently, as I mentioned, as flows through the plant increase next fiscal year. And this is evidenced by the 22% drop in cost per gallon. So this, in a month or so, we will have an almost 33 million gallon per day plant, and it will continue to become more efficient as demand grows in the future. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about anything I mentioned or anything you might have picked up in your review of the budget.
Anybody have any questions for Karen? No questions, Karen. So we have to have a motion for this. So, all right, so we'll entertain a motion to approve the budget as presented for 2021.
Oh, I'll make the motion to approve it.
I will reluctantly second. Not that y'all didn't do great work, just a lot of money.
Thank you.
First and second.
Hey, your people are they're not going to have to pay as much water.
For this. No, it's a good thing.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. We'll move on. Thank you. Item 5B, so I have C. Thank you, sir. Consider a resolution approving purchase order for a 700 horsepower motor replacement, including the installation and warranty. Ms. Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. President. This last item is due to the fact that one of our 4 original raw water intake pumps, 700 horsepower motors, experienced a catastrophic failure in late May. We hired a diagnostic engineering company to come in and assess what happened, because we don't want this occurring again. And the company determined that the motor could not be repaired and needs to be replaced. I can go into more details about that if you would like. But quotes were received from 3 suppliers, and Smith's Pump Company, Inc. was selected. So this agreement is with Smith Pump through Buy Board at a cost of $82,742. And we have adequate operations budget to cover the expense. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Any questions? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second.
First and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Item 6, Director closing comments regarding items of community interest. Mr. Kirkland? You have
Got to
anything?
unmute myself. Thank you all for participating tonight. No closing comments.
All right, Ms. Duffy?
Thank you. Good to see everyone. Appreciate the work on the budget by the staff, and appreciate the Valenti folks calling in. These are some new issues that y'all brought up that I don't recall from our meeting with the Valenti board probably about a year and a half ago, I can't remember how long ago, but definitely look forward to more conversation on your concerns.
Mr. Anderson?
Just a quick comment on I agree with Director Duffy as far as what was brought up by the City of Valente, and as a person who works for the company who designed the water treatment plant I hope to be able to provide any input I can on what's being done with the deep water intake. So thank you.
Mr. Shaw?
No comments. Thanks, staff and Mr. Powers for a job on the budget. Even though I don't like it, they did a good job.
All right, and I'll finish up by saying thank you, everybody, for all their work. Responding, Monique, Steve, and we know if there's nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Right.